Doodlebud here, and today I'm showing you a pen that I've kept secret for the last, it's been maybe two and a half months. I didn't know if I could actually do a video on this pen and share it with everyone. But then I asked the creator if I could, and he said, yeah, go ahead. So here is prototype number 1. This is the very first version of this pen that's made. It's not even released yet. This is the personal prototype of Ben Walsh over at Gravitas. The new model is the Monster. And it has this neat little filling system. It's very similar to a vac filler, but it's a little bit different. We have a valve type system versus what is on a regular vac filler. I'm going to compare the two. I have a TWSBI 700R Iris to compare. We'll show you what this is all about. It's called the Monster because it holds a monstrous amount of ink, and the Kraken because when you close this all the way, it has a bit of a crack sound to it, and that comes from the valve. This one, not so much because there's some little refinements that will be on the final version. I'll tell you what those are about. This thing's really cool. Big nib, lovely writer, huge ink capacity. So I'll show you how this one works, and there'll be differences in the production, and I'll talk a little bit about those too. Okay, so thanks to Ben Walsh over at Gravitas for sending me this pen to play with. He sent it over, again, I didn't know I was going to do a video, but he sent it over to get my sort of thoughts and feedback on it. He said, tell me anything you notice, good or bad or whatever. Just love to hear anything you got to say. So I'm going to share some of those things with you today. It's a big pen. I'll show you what it looks like next to some other big pens in a moment. But the big thing on this one is this filling system. Now, with this here is Ultim, and the cap. This is really impressive. Just how thin the wall is on this. It's super thin. I was worried it was going to be fragile. It is not. This stuff's super strong. I don't know if the real Monster pens are going to be Ultim. He did it this way because he knows the plastic's really good, can hold the dimensions he needs and the tolerances. And also you can see in it. So when you're making a prototype, it's really handy if you can see little things. Like if you want to make sure that things are in contact, what your clearances are like. If you have a good camera with focus, which I don't, then I can show you these things. But there we go. So you can just see just how much parts are slipping over top. If they're holding up to the dimensions in your drawing, you'll be looking at this and eyeballing it, then you'll be going over to your drawing to see, are those measurements the same? You'll get your calipers out to see how dimensionally they're coming out versus the actual drawing and what you're holding up and machining. So that's why it's made out of this combination. These parts are aluminum. Production will not be aluminum. We have raw aluminum threads on raw aluminum threads. You don't do that in production, but for prototype, yeah, good enough, whatever. It's easier to run, a little bit cheaper, quicker. It's a prototype. This, by the way, I used to make some prototypes for different projects. They never looked as good. Sometimes they were held together with glue. But yeah, this is quite nice. This is a very high caliber prototype. So even for that, I'm quite impressed. Let's get you into the filling system. As you can see here, this has got more of a valve actuation. And what we can do, because this pen isn't fully assembled, there is some adhesive that comes that will put this all together. Oh wait, I think I have to take the section off to show you. There we go. I think I do it this way. Yep. Hold on. There we go. So if you don't quite let the seal break, you'll sort of do a hammer and you'll pop the back off. It's kind of fun. And it'll pop right off the back of the pen. Let's have some fun. Almost. There it goes. Production model will not do that, but it's fun to play with stuff. There'll be proper adhesive and all that, but that's how this bit goes together. There's some parts under here. I'm not going to show that, but there's just some seals, it's neat. So here you have your main sort of vac filler shaft. And then you have this little floating valve mechanism. There is, with lighting, let's see if the flash can get it for you. Probably not zoom. Maybe you can see that, but just on the inside of this part, there is a little O-ring that's in there. So these two parts are made extremely well. And this is just, again, prototype version, the proper machining on here and tooling being used and different materials plus coatings will optimize that surface contact and also minimize friction of these moving parts. Now, it's not so much it's a wildly different to a vac filler, but it's just the fundamental of how the parts interact with each other. There's a little valve, and how you're sealing it is just with this big, huge, squishy gasket. So you would essentially call that over tolerance. And then finally, the parts deform and then you lose your seal. Things start to fill up into the pen. Again, focus is brutal tonight. So it's just the principle on it is, we have squishy bits. We're not being super tight on tolerances and machining requirements to make the seal. Here we're approaching it like you would if you were making a valve, which is the total opposite. Super precise. And everything is absolutely optimized and fits together perfectly. So this is just someone looking at that and go, you know how you can make it better. And it takes some more work, obviously. But this is a way to make it better. Now, some folks will say, and again, I'll show you the two filling systems in operation and show you how they work. But some folks would say, what's the big deal? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This works just fine. It's cheap. And you are 100% correct. But some people like to look at it and just say, you can make it better if, and they pursue that. I'd say one of the main differences between a traditional vac filler and the Monster is how you seal off the main reservoir to the lower section. So let's just fill it up to show you. So we just put the pen in, depress the plunger, out comes the air, in goes the ink. So that's all great. So you tighten down your filling rod, and what that does is it squishes the gasket against the lower section and it forms a seal. So it actually seals quite well. I've put one of these pens into my little vacuum chamber, nib down, cap off, and this does not come out. So it's actually quite a good seal. But if I undo the section now, you're not going to do this with your pen. Let me grip it. It's kind of tight. There we go. Okay, take that off. The ink comes out because the whole seal is really right there. So it's the squishy gasket going against the inner wall. And when you go past this little flare line here, you lose your seal. Okay, so now I'll show you on the Monster. You can really see it with the gasket there, right? So it's against the wall. Once you get past that, you lose your seal. So again, you're not exactly going to be opening the pen when it's inked up like that. You don't do that. But with the Monster, you actually could, because the seal is different. The seal is right there on that little valve. So let's fill this up. Same idea. Fills up. There we go. All right. What I'll do now is I will open up this chamber. I'll close this down, just like it did in the other pen. Open this up. Now, for one, that was a lot of water, diluted ink here. But that's how much is, in your lower reservoir. So it's quite a bit. Okay. So the valve is down in there. Can't really see it because we don't have lighting. Oh, there we go. Now you can see it. And nothing's coming out. I can shake this like crazy and nothing's coming out. Actually, I haven't done this yet. I want to put this in my vacuum chamber like this just to see. All right, let me put the pen in like that. I think I'll have to hold this off the ground so it doesn't fall over because it's quite short in there like that. All right, let's get that nice and tight. It's a little picky on that seal. And I'll get you up close here. Oh, okay. Let me try to get this back up. So I just have a little brake bleeder. And let's get a little suction going. There we go. The hose was loose. So let's get you on there. So we are way above the pressure differential you have when you're flying in an aircraft. And there is nothing coming out of there. The pen fell over on me, but we're at 20 millimeters of mercury. And yeah, nothing is coming out of there. So now you might be wondering, well, how does it work then? So if you deplete the ink that's down in here, how do you get it to transfer? You just open up the valve, and you saw the airflow right there. And so now you open up that little valve, you saw some bubbles go up, and it's going to operate just like a normal vac filler does. So the shutoff valve is a very serious shutoff valve. There will be some further refinements on the production models. I believe he's switched to Acme threads now on a lot of his pens moving forward. So I imagine this will be Acme thread, different material selection. I'm pretty sure those will be like titanium that are coated, and the internal bits there as well. Those will all have some refinements and most likely coatings and whatnot. But this was the prototype, the very first one made, just to get the idea and proof of concept and play with it and see if you find any problems. And like I said before, this is one hell of a prototype, and it works quite well. So this measurement will really just be for ink capacity. Material composition will be totally different on production models. So 28.8 grams or so for the pen body. Let's go fill it up. That was one plunge, no superfill. And we got 4.5 mil just from that. Let me do a superfill. For those of you who don't know, it's when you push that additional air out of the pen. Now, because this thing gets such a good seal, you don't really need to do this. Okay, so now whoa, we're careful now. All right, that plunger I gotta palm this thing and there we go. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on that. I don't recommend superfilling the monster because you have to palm it and you're putting it, and if it lets go, it's going to go shooting out of your hand. So, 4.5 mil, that's good enough. And then you can get over 6 mil if you give it a superfill. So that is a big incapacity. In a moment, I'll give you the actual physical dimensions, but here we are for a size comparison. Lamy All-Star. This is the Wing Sung or Junlai 930. It's huge. And then we got the Monster, Mont Blanc 149, 5040 Titan. And here we are with the caps off. This is equipped with a number 8 size steel nib with a Nico ebonite feed. Looks to be the same type of setup that is on the 5040 pens as well, along with the Gravitas piston carbon black that I recently reviewed. Here's a look at the pen in my hand. It is plenty big. It's a large pen. I don't need to post it. It does post, and nice and securely. Again, I don't think you're going to post this pen if you on the real production model. Again, I don't know the differences as far as dimensions go on this prototype versus production, but I imagine they're going to be very, very, very close. So it does post, but yeah, I think this is plenty big enough. It's a large pen. Overall length capped 147.5. Cap diameter is just over 17 millimeters. I don't know if that will be the real deal on the production models because that wall thickness is insanely thin. Just the pen on its own is 144.3. The diameter of the body around the metal ring here. Section's nice and long, right around 25 millimeters before you hit the threads, and the threads won't bother you anyways. 14 at its thickest, somewhere around 12 at its thinnest. Just has a very slight little hourglass shape to it. In the hand, the pen is quite comfortable. I've been using this a bunch. Like I had to fill it one time the whole time I was using it for 2 months. Like it's a ton of ink, so that's really, really nice. Very comfortable. The Ultim one here has these micro grooves. I don't think the sections are going to be Ultim on production models, but really good. It's got that Nico ebonite feed with that number 8 size steel nib. This one's a medium. Very, very smooth. I really enjoy this nib and feed setup and some other pens too. So yeah, I got no complaints for, as a pen on its own, it functions really well. And I do like the filling system. It's quite neat. Let me ink it up and write with it really quick for those of you who want to see it writing. As I was looking for ink, I just found this bottle. I haven't used this that much in a long, long time. This is the Inspired Blue. Too much of a turquoise for me, but I do like their bottle design. It's quite smart. Oh, is it too full to do that? We're not quite there yet, but let's see. Let me fill it up. And then we'll tip it. Oh, we're so close to that edge. There we go. Okay. So that is a neat feature on the Waterman bottles. When you're getting low, they just stay on edge like that. So then you can get in there and get more of that ink at the bottom of the bottle. Thought I'd give everyone a quick update while I'm doing the writing sample here. In the next 2 weeks, I'll be moving. We're doing a huge reconstruction project on our house, which also means my little shop area will be getting demolished. Hopefully I get a new one at some point, and it will be ongoing for quite some time. I don't think the full scope of the project won't be finished until early next year. So I will be setting up a new location to record my videos, most likely my office. But just for the next couple of weeks while I get things sorted out with all the moving and packing up everything and getting the new recording space set up, I might not be able to be as engaged with comments and other things. I'm going to try to do as many videos as I can before the move. That way I have content in place and available to watch before I'm set up again. So just keep that in mind, and let's finish things off with some final thoughts on the pen. So there you have it. That little skip, that was me just lifting off the page. I didn't have the best writing angle tonight. I was struggling with the tripod and the lighting and all that stuff. So sometimes I'm not in the best spot and it's tough to write. But yeah, this thing just performs fantastically the moment I got it. And every single time I've used it, it has been absolutely fantastic. It's really, really good. I like the filling system. It's just a little more elegant having that valve in there. Just another way to approach it. Like I said, nothing wrong with your standard vac fillers. They work great. But this is a more fancy way to do it, more precision, just a different approach. And as you can see, it really seals well. People go, how's the cap seal on the pen? With that type of seal, I mean, the cap seal is almost secondary, but yeah, the cap seals wonderfully too. But there we go. So big thank you to Ben Walsh at Gravitas for sending me this to play with, his personal very first prototype of this new model he's got coming out. It'll be coming out soon. I don't know exactly when. I think soonish. And the pricing, I don't know that either. But I do appreciate him sending me this over, and I gave him a little feedback and just overall impressions on the pen. I didn't think I was allowed to share this with you, so I asked if I could, and he says absolutely. So it's really, thanks again for letting me share this with everyone. Leave your comments down below, not just even for me, but also for Ben. He will be checking it. He wants to know what you think of this. So, ask me questions if you want, but also ask him questions if you want, and just leave your comment on this one. So there, we'll leave it there. And if you haven't already, thumbs up to leave some love. Subscribe is even more lovely, and the join button is even super cool. So we'll leave it there. A bunch more videos as always. I'll catch you next time.